Good morning, it's Trevor at Wilkins Harley-Davidson. Today we're going to do the second half of the handlebar install. Today our biggest concentration is going to be changing out the clutch lines and the brake lines, the ABS system. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is get that tank out of our way. Okay, just lift it up, spin it right around, everything's free. Only thing is with the Road King, you gotta unplug the, because that has the gas gauge here. There. First one I'm gonna do is the clutch line. That's the easiest. And the thing is with the dot 4, I've already sucked these lines out, they're all dry. And then I recommend, I know we do it every time, when you're doing handlebars, any of the gaskets, like your clutch cover gasket, your master cylinder cover gaskets, which you're going into, change them. There's no point of risking when you go back together, it's starting to seep because it'll start eating the black around. Like you've probably seen that, and some it'll start eating a little bit. And if you change that every 2 years and it doesn't leak, you know, it's put back on properly and everything, you shouldn't have no problems. Okay, I'm gonna take that clutch cable off first.
Is there a cover that goes over that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I took that all off before.
You took that all off. Now, did you have to loosen this up?
Yep. You know why? Because of that weld. Yeah. That weld right there. If that weld wasn't there, you'd be able to slip it off.
But it's just that.
Yep.
Just barely tighten on. You just have to loosen it. You don't have to pull it off.
No, the easiest way I do it is I take the bolts out there, take bolts on each side. I loosen that. I take that bolt out, that nut off there, and you can pull it. You can get in there and pop it. Gives you just enough room. Yes, I do both bottom ones. They're the easier ones to get without getting, you know, the heat shields in the way here. I loosen both bottom ones just a little bit, and you can move it out of the way. Oh. I like doing the clutch first because I do the brake lines one at a time, so I have them right back to where they seat. A little clamp right here that holds that clutch line, and we'll pop that off. There. There. It should just be a zip tie that holds it up too. I like doing these one at a time too because they can get mixed up. One time I put the clutch with the brake and the brake with the clutch. You go to breathe the brake and it ain't pumping up and you're like, what is going on? I'll just go backwards. No big deal. And a lot of times these still got fluid in them. I sucked these good. Sucked them out pretty good before I brought the bike out. Okay, like I said, I just want to run this exactly the way I had it. And these have, the Road Glide doesn't have this, but this actually has a spot where you can plug your clutch cable in. Sometimes, I don't know if this one will, sometimes they don't fit because they're a little bit, the aftermarket ones are a little bit thicker, especially the braided lines. But I think this one will actually fit. If not, you can run a tie or something behind there. I'll leave this here. And I try to route it exactly the same way it came out, so don't pinch nothing. And I always try to put this one in first before I tie it up there so I can twist it, you know, so it doesn't, if I tie it up there and it's not lining up here, you get that twist in it, it just makes it look a lot better. And I do this too, and I'm probably gonna do it now too, as I usually do. These come through, the stock ones come through with this nice rubber piece. And that takes the spot, it goes right in there.
To keep stuff out of
it keeps stuff out of the cover. The aftermarket ones don't always come out. All I do is I make a cut right there and I slide it right back in there and keep it out. And these I just put pressure on it and then I make sure it threads in. We won't be doing this out here, but I let this sit after I bleed it, and just to make sure I'm not seeping. So I won't get done, bleed it, then put the chrome cover on. Actually putting the chrome cover back on this is the very last thing I do, just so I can feel, because if it starts leaking, you're not going to see it until it's too late. Spin around. There. Put that little rubber piece back on. Right there. Tighten that now.
Not any less either, right?
Cool. There, the clutch line's in. The only thing I didn't do is I didn't put that other clamp back on. I'll do that later. I can't see it. That I'll put in there. Everything's nice. Everything's away from the motor. Everything's away from the brake line. And we'll put that clutch lever on. And it's nice not having the tank here so you don't have anything's gonna fall. Right there. Locks right into that guy right there.
Yep.
This style, the newer style, you don't have to worry about putting anything in to protect the clutch switch or the brake switch like the old days we had to put the cardboard in there.
Yep.
These are pretty rugged. They're not like the older ones.
It's
90 days. You know why right now?
Okay, that's nice. Yeah. Before I bleed, I'll just snug these, and then when I get both sides on, I try to make them uniform, you know, get them the equal space just to make them look nice. Usually put a chrome zip tie there or something. I like to keep the lines on the inside of the bars, because when it goes in, it fits nicer. Plus, sitting on the bike, it looks cleaner. You don't see it. Okay, clutch on, we'll do brakes. When I cut these, and you'll even see they mark them, is placement of that zip tie. So when I cut it, if it's not marked, I'll just leave the zip tie there so I know right where to put it back. Pop right off. Pop this one out of here. Pop that off. And this is rubber mounted, so you can move it. So that's, I mean, don't be afraid to, especially these guys here, to pop it up through. So I loosen that one just so I can get it out of the way. Crush washers out of there, get any .4. And then I do the lowers first. Harley lowers, I like doing the Harley ones because Harley comes through with these nice metal braid, you know what I mean, junctions. The aftermarket ones usually don't. I can sometimes get these lines here. These are my lower lines here. See, it's just one solid line. It doesn't have these nice metal junctions that come up through and fold into that clamp. You can take this, and sometimes you can fold them in there. It's a pain, and it takes a minute. Or what I'm probably gonna end up doing with this one is I'll take this clamp off completely and I'll just get a P-clamp and put the screw in there and have the P-clamp and it'll move back and forth. You can't see it in there anyway. I really like these. That's why I like the Harley ones. And a lot of the times, even with the aftermarket, if they do black lines instead of the braided, I won't even change these. I'll keep these nice metal ones here so you don't have to change them. But braided, have everything nicely match. So we're gonna do that first. We'll do the lowers first. This is the front right lower. Anytime they say front, left, or right, it's always as if you're sitting on the motorcycle.
You need the refresher courses?
The classes are fun.
Either you forget little things or you just didn't pick up on it the first
Yeah,
time.
yeah, exactly. And there's little things that have changed, you know, little tips and tricks that they teach you.
Well, I'm sure that everything they teach you is not something you're going to...
Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way. This is your ABS sensor. I usually just move that to get behind it and pop this out. Nice little holder. And the first one I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this one first. I'm actually gonna loosen this strap a little bit. If this was on my lift, I would have it strapped back there just to keep everything out of the way. Take the clips off. I've just always done it this way. Like I said before, I like to keep everything exactly the way it came. And this one here is the middle one, so. Yep, center. So I'll just pop it out of there, one at a time. This is the most tedious part. So this one goes here. Bring it out of there, cut that zip tie. Okay, I'm gonna get this one out of here. Pull this one through. Like I said, this is the most tedious part of the handlebar job. Yeah, see, I pulled the wrong one. So I'm just gonna hang that one. I pulled the left one. That one out of the way. And these, you'll see like on the other side, they actually clamp in. So you can put them, so when you tighten them, it doesn't turn on you. But that's why they put those tabs there, so you can tighten this and it stays nice and uniform. Gives you that so it won't move. Bring this up. These all come up through the same way. And this wraps around, it goes out of the way, and go underneath here. But that line's gonna be gone. This won't be in the way when we pull that one out. Very important not to get these messed up either. Mistake backwards. Get this one right out of here.
I know that 06.
The nice thing about these is, and your 14s, you can turn the heat management off and on with the twist grip sensor. That's a beautiful thing. When I put these all back on down here, I always keep them a little loose too until I have them all there. Then I arrange them as good as, you know, as neat as I can. I usually do the big, because the one that goes to your handlebars has a bigger plug, so I'll do that one last. So because it's hard to get to these other ones that are behind once that one's in the way. But yeah, there's no particular order. Whatever is easier for you. What's that one? I already got it half off. This one, bring it down in there, plug that in. And I'll put those, just so I know they're in the right spots when I clamp them back in. You can just put them there, you know, and then when you go to snap everything in, then you can move this back and forth. You don't get them nice and, but I'm just snapping them in loosely now, just so I know they're in the right spots. Cool. Man, I must have got that. It must have all came through when I. No, it didn't. I'd rather it drip there though than drip down into there. Get this line right out of here. Very easy.
Just pulling out the.
Take these two right out, get the caliper out of the way.
Okay, yep.
And then you pop this off, and there's a pin and a safety clip. Pop safety clip, throw it away. They'll come with the pads. A new one will come with the pads, and you just pull that. You get a new. You can throw the bolt away too, the pin, because they'll give you a new one of those also. Very easy. And anytime afterwards I'm done with that, I always make sure it's all dry, because that dot 4 sitting on that black will eventually eat it, just like it does to the master cylinders. Anytime we put our bikes on the lifts, we protect them anyway, even if we're not using dot, you know, just doing regular work. We try to, good practice, keep them protected. Route this one back. The hard part is pretty much over. Goes up there, that goes in there, that goes there, this one comes through, go underneath. That goes in there, bring this one back, hook her up, and then bring the front one in, and we're pretty much there. Now this is the tedious part. Okay, pop that one out. Okay, and put that final line on there. And these are all labeled. And if we weren't doing lowers, if we were doing black lines, we'd just be replacing this one, just because of length. This is a good time to just make sure you're not twisted up and everything's going to be nice and neat, which it looks good. Beautiful. That's why I like leaving these loose. I like to bring this one. This one goes right nice if I can get it down to come down in between here, and I'll just push this one over a little bit. That's why I like these, you know, they just fold into each other.
Yep.
You don't got to worry about being wrong. Yeah. That ain't gonna work backwards. I looked at it, I checked for that too. Still did it. Right there. Because this is your control. So I'm figuring that's why they made that one so much bigger. And the same thing, once I don't cover any of this stuff up until I'm done bleeding it. And that's the last thing, is covering any of these up just to make sure that there's no leakage. Okay, tighten those down. And it's nice that this is rubber mounted so you can get back there. Have these as even, nice, shooting up that way as possible. Will all look good. And it's a light. You can't get a torque wrench in there because of that arm, but still light, snug. Now I'll pull everything in and make it nice and neat. This one I still haven't hooked up front, but I know where it's going. Got one up here, twist that a little bit. That's gonna go in there, that there. Snap that in there. That's nice and neat. That's actually gonna come up here to here. I have to get a zip tie from Simon. It's gonna go there. See, these are all nice and that one there, there. Tuck them in there. It sits so nice. Nice and flat. I'll go get a zip tie for Simon later. As long as everything's below, you know, everything's sitting nice. That zip tie will hold that there. Nothing's gonna pinch there, nothing's gonna pinch there. It's all nice and flush there. Feed this one through to the top. And if you have extra up here, it's not a huge deal because you put the fairing on. You can just make sure that it's not kinked over or anything, just zip tie it. But these, going with these, they're made for these bars. It's all nice. It'll be just like factory. Plug everything in down here. It's gonna go there. That's gonna go there. That's gonna go there. Actually, and that one I'm gonna put down here. Yeah, that'll go there. Everything's nice and flush there. Nice. And there we go. All popped in. Put that bracket back in there. Easier said than done. Come on. Yeah. Snapped in. Pull this a little tighter. The most important thing is that these are all nice and flush in there. Nothing gets pinched. And it looks good. I mean, that looks beautiful, I think. Everything's nice and uniform. Pull that one a little tighter. Nothing's gonna pinch when I go back on with the tank. Pop that in there a little better though. That's not sitting. There we go. Don't forget to plug your ABS sensor back in. Bring this up here. And we're gonna bring this right up to here. Boom. Tie it there. I'll actually tie them two together. We'll put that on. But that's how that's supposed to look. Nice and uniform, nice and flush. I think I mentioned it last week, but with this grip too, pull that out here. Same thing, make sure there's no wires sticking out there. And with this grip, when you go back on, make sure you still have that little bit back and forth. Yep. You don't want it too far because I've seen it, I've put them on too far before, or come off too far and it'll be fine going down the road, then one day it'll slip and you won't have no throttle, it'll come off the gear. So what I do is I push it on as far as it can go, and then when I get this on, I just wiggle it back until it moves a little bit. Because if you have it too far on, it'll bind, it'll get stuck. None of this stuff should go on hard. If it's going on hard, something's wrong. These new style switches are really nice. From 14 on when they started putting those on, beautiful. Makes things a lot easier when a switch goes bad too. It's a little more expensive, but what labor you used to have to do to change just this is probably the same amount of money as replacing everything.
Later, I had an issue. So I brought it back up, and one of you guys found the problem. It was a pink wire there when I put the clamps and stuff back together. I thought I had everything tucked back in there the way it's supposed to be.
Hey, that's nice, moves back and forth lightly. It twists nicely. And I try to get the little gaps here the same too, just for uniformity. And I always go off of this one because you got that set and you can just pull that one back a little bit. Cool, we'll hook that line up. I always put the interfering on first before I swing this back around because it's easier to put the little guy on there with that. Because you can't get it off with this on. Unless you pop all this off, you can get it off. But I try to get this one. And when you have the bend, you always go away. Sometimes they're straight, sometimes they're bent. I like the bent ones, they go with the contour of the bars a little better. And when you're getting ready to bleed these, the nice thing about ape hangers is that you can have this nice and level. So you have a nice spot to start with. If not, I usually put it on the floor with a floor jack, and then you can turn this and get it at a decent angle. Or cool. Now I can get those. I always set those flush. Then if the customer wants to change them, move them too. Now these, I like to kind of go back, bring this here, right where it was tied before, from the factory. The same, this one actually goes here and it gets tied to that one, so it'll be like that. Get these wires over the top. These are all nice. These here, this is where it gets, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fold them up like I was talking. I would want to, I would like to. I like to get these a nice bend, equal bend on each side. Like I said, sometimes I can get them. These, you pop it in there, it's not that. You gotta go here to here. I think I'm just gonna do the P-clamps on that, but put the P-clamps, bang, put them there, and then tie them so that they're even. Put a P-clamp here, and then try to get them as even as possible. If I can, I'll remove that whole thing.
I got mine from, which is Twin State now. But I mean, when I went to pick it up out of storage and stuff, and it's like, nobody came out and did a walk around, explained anything. So I'm thinking, well, yeah, I was disappointed at that fact, but it was the fact that I guess you're getting off an older Harley. You know what it's all about, kind of thing.
Yep. Let's tie those two right there. Okay, I get those two P-clamps. And that's pretty much the way they were when they came off. This line might have been, it was probably up here, but I don't have enough to get it back to there, and I wouldn't want to keep it nice and loose. Like I said before, I like keeping those on the inside. Plus they won't pinch. Some people put them out here and they pinch on the fairing. Right there, they won't pinch.
Welcome to.
So that's what we'll replace that bottom clamp with, them guys there. But I'll put the fairing on now. Main thing is to try to keep, you know where these guys are, because you're gonna have to plug these in. Keep this one over here, that's your twist grip. That actually plugs into here. I don't plug it in until I get it back on. That's gonna go over there and make sure nothing's gonna get pinched. This is another thing I liked when they did in 14 is the ease of getting these off and on. See it's soft. In the top there, it just slides. Put those there. Push it in. There. And just gradually starts cooling down. Pop it up and over. On. This in there. Right there. There we go. That's it. It don't get no easier now. See how much room you got here? You're talking about moving forward. Yeah. All kinds. You can move it almost another inch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's going over here.
And like this, easy to plug back in. Twist grip sensor here. The only one that you could cross is this one because they're the same, but this one's got two on it, so you go to this side. So much easier than the old style. The headlights, keep that out. Let's go from here. That's there. This extra one here, this is if you have fender tip light. That's where that would plug in. You got your Back in the older bikes, the white and orange, you'd have the plug off like the headlight for accessory. Your accessory now is blue, or it's violet and black. And that's up here. If you got amplifier, that usually goes there. Heated, I'm not heated, yeah. Powered antenna or something like that, that's where that would plug in. I try to plug them all back in where they were. And snaps in nicely. That I'll just tuck or zip tie in. That's in case they want heated grips. It's good to keep that wire out. You never know. There's your headlight. So we could take these. Before I put the other fairing on, I'm gonna tape that and get that tied in nice so it doesn't, so these are as even as possible. Snaps right in there. Very nice setup. These are your turn signals. Come on. Oh, get out of the way right there. I like to make sure these move too. You don't want them pinched in between that fairing. Yeah, see how they nice and move right there? Yep. This side is a little bit different right now. I'm just gonna see if I can get it. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Because they will pinch. And sometimes these I won't, because these are fitting nice, and I haven't tightened those up yet. Sometimes if they stick out, like these will have more of a bend, or they'll bend out this way, and I'll zip tie them so they're nice, but these I won't. Keep it as clean as possible. You can put a chrome zip tie there. Just try to get it as uniform as possible. I want to set these first, so I'll have the seat on and get it right where I want it, and then I'll tighten these guys up. Make sure they're nice, because once you get everything bled and everything, you don't want to have to move these again. Just to make them look nice. Cool, I don't think I'm gonna have to, see that screw, I don't think I'm gonna have to grind anything off these. It's gonna, maybe a little bit. See, it's that little tip right there, that tub. So I'm not gonna put that on completely right now. So I'm gonna get, once I bring it back there, I can grind it right there. I'll just take that edge off.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You just gotta be so careful, especially
I
painted
didn't know
ones.
if it was.
But that's, I'm glad, I'm actually, first time, I'm glad that that's like that, so I can show you what I was talking about.
It'll be right home to you.
There we go. After I get these on, I'll put the turn signals on, and then we'll put the clamps on the bottom. Turn signals easy, just plug right in. Tuck that in there. LEDs, that's the big thing now, is LEDs. There's a lot of nice ones out there. They got the new headlight that when you lean, more LEDs come on with the lean angle. Okay, that's the inner fairing back on. Very easy. So now, we'll do those lower brake lines. I'm gonna need a Torx for that. I think I have the right size already. Go sure those turn signals and everything work. Oh yeah, that's always a good thing. Good time to check everything. Horn. Flashers. Yeah, we're good.
That plastic cover that clamp the other ones on that just comes off?
Yeah, 2 Torx screws. And I'll reuse these screws and put the clamps on. I like the cover because it looks nice. But the clamps don't look bad either. So we're gonna put these just like that. Put this on the, yeah. And this, I just, like I said before, I just try to get a nice bend. Try to get even on both sides as much as possible. These clamps are really nice. Being the padded ones, usually the other ones we had didn't have the padding, so it didn't pinch as they moved. So you'd have one over here kind of more, but these will hold it. Very nice. And to be honest, I'm gonna make a note. I would put a little drop of blue Loctite or something on these little screws. I'm gonna do that when I bring it back out back. But that looks good there. They both look, I'm gonna set it to what this one is here. That looks really, very nice, I think. Pretty even. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna get those little ties. Tie that up to there. Put it on the inside so you can see the braid. That looks nice. It won't move. Goes in a little bit more. Usually the bend's out here, but it'll keep it from rubbing here. As long as it doesn't rub on there, which it's far enough away. That zip tie ain't working well. I'm gonna cut that one out. There. That looks good. You can't see it.
Absolutely.
I'm very impressed at how those came out, to be honest. I like that. I was not, I liked doing it the other way better, but that actually doesn't look bad. It's nice and even looking down from the front.
Yeah, you really can't see that
No.
other line.
Those have still got a nice, they're nice and loose. I'm gonna actually tie those together just to have it tied. I'll bring this up. I can even bring that like that, as long as there's no kinks in it. Actually, I can tie it right there, or even bring it up higher. There's actually quite a bit of room in there. So I can bring that up here. Tie that to here and tuck that there. As long as that's got plenty of movement, that's plenty. How's it going, Cindy? So now I can put that fairing on there, turn the tank back around, seat on, adjust these, tighten that down. That's pretty much it. We'll double check, make sure everything's good here.
I think we did our own, so Trevor wouldn't have anything to do.
That's right.
I'm trying to keep
me busy. I can only drink so much coffee in a day. So you got the 2 screws underneath the speakers on the Road Glide. But then you don't have to take these all the way off like you used to. You just got a screw behind there, and then there's a screw down here. Right off.
Got a break or had to need to take the interface.
I'm missing that one, but I can find one later. There. I'll leave that loose till I get that. So the headlight works. Oh yeah. Beautiful. Swing the tank around. I said I ain't gonna bolt this up now, as I gotta grind that, but I'll do that out back once when I'm bleeding these and everything. We can swing the tank around. Easier when it's empty. This one is not. And it's very easy compared to the old ones pulling the innards out of these. Very easy. You need a special tool to get that ring off. It's just a big clip. Clank it, it comes off. It's like a pressure ring. And everything just snaps to the side of the tank. Pull it right out. I'll make sure they'll spin afterwards. Okay, so we'll put the seat back on, then I can adjust those controls. And we can tighten everything up there. Now we'll set these flush. We can put them anywhere the customer wants. Let's check Q2, make sure that's even. That'll tell you if your bars are straight too. The gap in between here, that'll tell you if everything's straight. We checked that before I go, like the last class, it was across. But that'll tell you a lot too. Make these even. That looks good right there. Looks good there. Beautiful. Everything works again.
Mainly in all 50 states and Canada. For Halfport, local farmers markets and butcher shops, you can also order it online. There's always room for improvement.
Neutral. Perfect. There we go. Handlebars complete. We'll turn those hazards off.